In 1837, Victoria ascended the British throne to become Queen. She took over from her uncle, and she was only a teenager at the time, much like our model today. It was a period of austerity in the looks and yet prosperity in the way that the country was going. She was soon to meet the love of her life, Albert, and he changed the face of England and made it the most prosperous country in the world. But the looks of the time and actually Albert's influence tended to make things very religious, very strong, very unfashionable and fluffy. In France, it was a different matter. They were having very strong looks. But what we're going to do today is an early Victorian look, which you can achieve quite simply with some easy tools that we spoke about earlier. So, you want fairly long hair. If you haven't got long hair that you're working with, you would need to use some of your pieces. And so, again, if you want to get something that matches with natural hair, you'll find that you'll be able to blend this through if you needed to. Otherwise, we can work with the natural hair, which we're going to do today. Partings, were nearly always through the centre when they were parted, and so a very strong central parting. And something that we don't see so much these days is partings through the side, which were allowed to be shown, again, very strong. So we're going to work down to the ear on the side, and we're just going to take that hair, move it out the way. Let's grab one of my clips, and I'll just move that hair out the way. And so this section, or this parting that we have, is going to be quite prominently shown, something that we don't necessarily see in today's looks. I'm going to move across to the opposite side, and we're just going to do the same thing. So I'm taking a parting down to the ear, and then we're just going to move that hair out of the way at the front. So I'll use another clip just to get that out of the way. At this stage, if you want to use a little working spray just to keep the hair out of the way, that's fine. And when we say working spray, as I've said to you before, it's basically a spray that is fine enough to work with, that will hold the hair, and not a finishing spray, which is obviously going to be a lot stronger. A lot of the shapes, again, will work towards the nape of the neck. We are going to work on some Victorian looks which are higher, but this is a nape-based look. So again, I'm going to use a small elastic, and that's elastic of your choice, just to hold the hair. Everything is very smooth, very clean. And so you can use a little bit of a brilliantine or a pomade if you want, just to really get that hair flat. But I'm going to show you a couple of looks over the next few videos, so I'll spray instead just to hold that hair in place. But you can get the feeling that this is really nice. We want to get this really nice and clean and smooth. If you prefer to work with a length of elastic to tie into the bottom, that's entirely up to you. Plaits and braids, again, very popular at this period of time, so that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to grab this hair, and in fact, if you've looked at some of the more modern looks that we've done, we've actually done the same thing. We've used this as a base in the back, but it's been used throughout history. And with the piece you just saw, we could actually build this out quite strong, and we'll be doing that in other looks. So, just a 3-section braid, and all we're going to do is just bring this and braid it through. This will be the basis for the back of the look, and so you can see how, again, women of this period, if they didn't have maids and people looking after them, these looks were fairly easy to reproduce for yourself. And small bonnets and hats would be used to go over the top. You'll see in the 1830s and 40s, bonnets as opposed to hats were very popular, and hat shapes will always follow the line of the hair. And so you would have seen a wide brim on the front, but you would have seen it sit down and then open up to the back so that hair could actually stand without having to worry about the hat pushing it. In most periods of history, you look at hats and you'll realize they evolve the same as the head shape. I just pinged my elastic off into space, so I'll just grab another one. And all I'm doing is closing down the ends. If your ends are a bit frayed or fly away, you can just catch them when you bring that elastic through on the end, you can just loop it a little bit. It'll just hold them together, a few of them down, or you can just let them go. It's up to you. So now I'm just going to tuck this underneath. So I'm tucking that inside so that it doesn't destroy my shape. And then I'm just pulling the bun that we're creating across. I'm going to use some bobby pins. You can use hairpins, as I've shown you before, or bobby pins, but all you're trying to do is just hold this shape. Now, if you're doing this for a film set or a theatre play, something where it's going to be seen close up, make sure that these pins are out of the way if they're not authentic to the period. Pop your head down, thanks. And make sure your colour of the pin matches fairly well to the hair, and then you'll find it will blend much easier. Same as the elastic, that's just going to be hidden out of the way. So all we're doing is creating this shape through the back area. We're now going to come into the front, and already you've got half of your shape fitted and in place. I'm going to use a little bit of spray on this just to bring those flyaways down. And again, as I said earlier, if you want to use a pomade, that's perfectly okay. Now, draw the hair down, and at the front, make sure you get that hair nice and smooth. As we bring it down, this hair is flat, smooth, and we're down to the ear level. Once you're down to the ear level, then you can separate this into 3 again and braid or plait the 3 sections. Plait it low and keep dropping down. Don't pull to the side or back. We want this to sit very smooth, very flat. As I said, austere by today's standards, but popular for the time. So now we're down to here. We can just continue to braid this down. Ringlets were also popular through different periods, and more of an evening look, and we will be doing one of those looks in a video. Just working this down. And I'm running out of hair through this area just because there's a layer at the front. So I'll just take a piece from one of my other 2 strands, just rob a little bit from there so that I can continue to work down. Again, I'll just take a little piece from here and I'll just bring that over. I'm going to use a small elastic again to secure. Okay, and I'll just drop that down. And then we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So again, I'll just get this nice and smooth. And I'll make a lot of noise with my hairspray. Okay, pop your head over slightly. Okay, and again I'm going to pull down so that I can start this lower. I don't want it high, and I want this to be away from the face as we did on the opposite side. We don't want it to be close from the skin, or else you're not going to be able to pull this back, which we're going to do once we've got both sides done. It's a fairly simple style, but it's effective, and you could vary this a little bit on several models, or if you were doing extras for either a play or a shoot or a movie. You could vary this and still get quite a lot of people done in a short amount of time. Again, you can see I'm just getting shorter through that center area where the hair at the front is slightly layered. So I'm just going to take a little bit of hair away so that we can just continue to work down on all three sections. Once you've finished, your flyaways can be brought down again with a little pomade, and that'll hold all those areas in place for you so that everything's very sleek and smooth. Work to the bottom, and again we're just going to use a small elastic just to section that hair off. Now we're going to come through with these two areas to the back, and what you're going to do, because we worked down, now you've got the shape going down, you're going to pull this up and over the top of the shape that you're doing. So what we're going to do with this side is we're going to take, you can use a pin or a grip. I'm going to use these little fake tortoiseshell combs because they're quite appropriate for the period. I'm going to tuck that in, and then I'm just going to tuck the ends under. Then I'm going to come to the opposite side, and you'll see we're going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to take this, bring it up over, because if you take it under, it's not going to give you the correct shape. This is just draping braids or plaits over plaits. This will also cover the elastic on this side, okay? And so I'm just going to dig the clip into the side. I'm going to bring this over, tuck the elasticated end under, and then again, if you're using a metal clip, that's fine, or just one of these little decorative combs. And you can get small combs, as I just said combs, but you can get small decorative combs which work quite nicely as well. So I'll grab a bobby pin, and then with my ends that are left out, I'm just going to take that and tuck those underneath. So anything you're seeing basically is the fake tortoise shell, which looks quite nice. Just spray a little bit more to keep my ends down, and if I was only dressing this once today, then obviously I could pomade this and that'll hold it in place. If you look at some of the portraits that was done of Victoria around the coronation time when she's wearing a crown, etc., you can see this sort of look. As I say, it has a fairly austere feeling to it, but it's very much, as soon as you see it, you know what period it's from. Quite easily done, as we say. Your three main partings are central, always central, and then down to the ears. You're moving into the back quite firmly to create your bun or chignon shape with your first braid or plait. And then make sure as you work through the sides with the thickness of the hair that you're working down and that you're opening up, bringing this down, opening up towards the bottom and keeping it straight and flat. You don't want it veering off, because then you can get this nice loop to it as you work into the back shape. And that will give you your first early Victorian look and feeling. You could dress this with a few little things, some pearls, or a couple of shell, or as we said, tortoise shell sort of look. But I wouldn't do anything too strong, because that would be more into an evening, which we will do later, which will be a stronger sort of feeling to it. So early Victorian.